Well, hello there and welcome to this B2B masterclass on intelligent offers. I'm going to kick things off with a very simple, no-brainer question to get us started. Here is a question for you. Do most new client relationships start with a conversation? Yes or no? This is my question for you. Do most new client relationships start with a conversation? Because there are many industries out there where a sale is made like this. Somebody pulls out their credit card, tappity, 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 tap, and they hit the enter mark and someone buys something from them. That's called e-commerce. There are also situations in businesses where people might pick up the phone and call you to place an order. Now that there is not a conversation, that is just somebody picking up the phone and placing an order, which is really no different to the tappity, tappity, tap scenario. It's just performed by a human. So here's my question for you. Do most new client relationships start with a conversation? And I can see Steph and Louise and Marcus have already said yes. It's a simple yes or no answer. In the majority of cases, do they start with a conversation? Do your best to get involved. The reason why I ask the question is because if the client relationship starts with a conversation, it usually means that you are involved in an industry where you require skills to be able to perform complex sales. And complex sales is very different to, for example, e-commerce sales. It requires some skills. It requires things like a proposal, or at least the opportunity to be able to present an offer. So once again, it's really important that I ask you that question. Do most client relationships start with a conversation? Yes or no? Now, Alina's given us not always, all right? I'm asking in the majority of cases. Most is the key word. All right, if we're talking about complex sales that more often than not start with a conversation, how much is a new client worth to you in the first month? So we're talking about a new client, we're talking about first month. Because once again, we're selling complex, big ticket items often. You know, we're not talking about how to sell $9 umbrellas. So give me a number. Is it $100? Is it $100,000? How much is a new client worth to you in the first month? Once again, use the chat tool. Now, the more that you participate today, the more you will get from this experience. If you sit back and watch it in a very passive way, as if you're watching a television show, you're probably likely to get as much value from it as you would if you were kicking back and watching an episode of The Bachelorette, right? Business, like life, is not a passive exercise. The more you put in, the more you will get out. So once again, do most client relationships start with a conversation? And then second, how much is a new client worth to you in the first month? And I'm seeing a range of numbers from 2,000, 1,600, 5,000, 3K, 10,000, 1,500. What you will observe is that most B2B sales and big ticket sales, where the sale usually begins with the conversation, the lowest that you will probably get is usually around 1,500. And that is because anything under 1,500, you can usually get away with people paying for something using a credit card online at this point. Now, if you are selling something for under, say, $1,500 and you're still running phone conversations, perhaps speak to one of my crew, because you need to up your prices or you need to find a new way to do your sales. Rock and roll. Thank you to everyone who participated, because when you participate, you get access to this. This is my participation bonus. What's a participation bonus? It's simply a bonus for participating. Excuse me. This is an action guide that we have called Thank You for Not Discounting: How to Tackle the Tire Kickers, Time Wasters, Hagglers, and Never Discount Ever Again. If you don't like it when you present an offer to people and they say, hey, can you sharpen the pencil? Can you do me a better deal? Because a lot of people are conditioned to ask for discounts. And if you have no way to respond to that, which means that in most cases you just cave in and say, yes, please participate because I will send you this document. sometime in the next 24 hours, everyone who participates today by leaving a comment will get this. By the way, if you're watching this live, you might have an opportunity to leave a comment for just the panelists or as a private question. You must leave, just the panelists, which I think is private, or for everyone, panelists and attendees, which means everyone else can see it. To participate, you need to leave the comment for all panelists and attendees so that we can see it later, so that our helpers can make sure that you get the participation bonus, okay? So make sure that you participate, because not only will you be more likely to retain the information, not only will you be more likely to execute on the information, but you'll get this participation bonus. Awesome. Make your time here count. So I've asked you an easy question. Does a new client relationship usually begin with a conversation? All right, that was a yes/no question. Number 2, how much is a client worth to you in the first month? Now, if your answer is I'm not sure, or it depends, I'm super glad you're here. Because if every new client relationship requires a new number, that's a very difficult business to run, very difficult to scale, because every new client order requires your input. Very, very difficult. But I've got a third question here, and it's a slightly harder one than the first two. This is a slightly strategic question. I'd like you to have a think about this and type your answers. What's the hardest thing about this whole proposal process? So 1, if most conversations start with a conversation, which will often then lead to a proposal, or maybe the proposal is provided before that conversation. If you're selling a bigger ticket item, it's a complex sale. We're often talking about this process called the proposal process. We're here to talk about intelligent offers. What is the hardest thing? What's the hardest part for you in your world? What drains you, right? What makes you go, ugh, no, I have to do this bit again, or I have to do something new. What is the hardest thing about the whole proposal process? Every sale requires a conversation. It's a big ticket item. If it's a big ticket item, more often than not, people will say, can I see a proposal? And then you find yourself involved in the proposal process. What's the hardest thing? What's the worst thing? It's interesting looking at your answers. Leanne says the amount of time it takes to get a decision, knowing what part to present and when, waiting to hear a response, says Jess. Finding someone to make a proposal to, says, who was that? I think it was Nick before it disappeared off my screen. Rock and roll. Now, we have supported, we have directly supported thousands, but we have also supported hundreds of thousands of people through our various online initiatives, from social media to our blog, then drilling down to webinars like this, and then our direct training programs. And we've spoken with a lot of people, a lot like you. And when it comes to the proposal process, here are the big 3 headaches. 1, what's the hardest part? Someone says, can you write me a proposal? And you go, oh, I need to write another bespoke proposal. Bespoke means one of a kind. Oh, I need to write another proposal, or I need to write another bespoke proposal. Here's the other thing. When somebody says to you, it would be really helpful if you sent me a proposal, or can you just send me a proposal? A lot of the time, we just also don't even know whether they really mean it or not. Some people use that sentence as a way to put off a decision, or to avoid a decision, or just to be polite. So we go, oh, I need to write another proposal. And we go back to the proposals that we've written in the past, and we go, maybe I'll put this bit in, and maybe I'll put this bit in. And do I want it to have thud factor, or do I want it to be light and simple and easy? And what do I think are going to be the drivers for this particular person? And we go, ugh, not again. Yeah, I need to write another proposal. That there is one of the biggest pain points. The second biggest pain point, and I think I saw this on the comments, will I actually read it? So I've put in all this effort. I send it to the prospect, and they're already looking around at the next thing, at the next new shiny object. Maybe they're shopping around. They're trying to find comparisons, and maybe they're speaking to your competitors, and you're like this girl on the string going, what? I just pulled together a work of art, God damn it. And you're already looking around. We're wondering whether they're actually reading it. We're sending them messages and emails. Hey, did you get to read the proposal? What do you think of the proposal? I haven't got to it yet. I plan to set aside some time next Tuesday. Will I actually read it? Nah. All right, what's our third one? Okay. You've been asked to put together a proposal. You're not even sure that you've got their attention. So that second slide is really about grabbing and holding their attention. As Debbie said, figuring out what will make them say, hells yeah. Or Tony said, matching the buyers to the best investment, or more likely what's going to be best for them. Not necessarily about price, but more about outcomes. And we go through that process. And at the very early stage, there's that magic number that we need to put on the final page. Do you know what I'm talking about? The magic number that is supposed to go on the final page. And I asked you a little bit earlier, how much is a client worth in the first month? And there's nothing worse than getting caught up in black art quoting. And what that simply means is that it's time to put together a proposal. We pull it together, we get to the last page, and then we go, oh, what's the number that I should put on the last page? What's the investment that I should put on the last page? And I don't know, we go, well, how much do I think the client would pay? Well, how much can they afford? But I don't want to sound too cheap, but I don't want to get priced out. Oh, but I really need this work. Well, how much effort am I going to have to put in? But it's a good client, so maybe I should discount it just to win the client. And then, this is black art quoting. It's a black art. We lick our finger, we test the breeze, and then we put a number on the back page. For a lot of people, this is indeed the hardest part of the proposal process. And it's just simply deciding how much to charge when it comes to the last page of the proposal and it's time to put in that magic number. And you know, probably deep down in your heart of hearts, that they'll get your proposal, they'll go and open up to the last page. It's gut wrenching, but it's true. So those are the three biggest headaches. It's time to put together another proposal. What a pain. So one, I'm going to be talking about what you can put into a proposal, what I think are the most important pieces, but I'm also going to encourage you to, this is quite radical, stop preparing proposals the way that you have been. Number two, which I think I'm going to be addressing first, is all about grabbing and holding attention. Now, if you're having trouble in this proposal process, maybe you're struggling to get the meeting in the first place, then you're struggling to hold their attention, then it's taking ages to get a decision, and then they ghost you. That's probably to do with what you are indeed selling. It's all about grabbing and holding attention. And this third slide here is about pricing. It's about making sure that you've got the right number on the right in the right place, and you're going to be presenting that information at the right time. Rock and roll. So once again, we have a participation bonus. Out of those three things that I just described right now, which of those challenges hit hardest for you in your world? Is it the process of pulling the damn thing together? Is it worrying that we haven't hit the right touch points, right? That we haven't touched a nerve, that we're not grabbing and holding attention, that they're not immediately distracted, looking away? Or is it three, the pricing component? So that's my question. Is it pulling the damn thing together? Is it holding attention? Or is it the price point? So let's have a look. Pricing, says Alina, it's the touch points. Putting it all together, wonderful, rock and roll. Being aware of the areas that you find most challenging is extremely important if you want to be able to tackle those particular areas. And fortunately, we're going to be tackling all three today. Now, this to pull this into the bigger picture in our world is that we're the B2B school and also the creators of B2B Dash. And we help largely B2B business owners and sales and marketing professionals who sell complex, usually big ticket products and services. And in our world, we've found that there are three main levers. If you want to grow a B2B business, there are three main levers. What's a lever? It's something that you pull and cool things happen. And we've pulled together something called our B2B growth engine. And the B2B growth engine talks about those three levers, which are indeed marketing, sales, and selling at scale. Marketing, sales, and scale. Today, we're focused on sales, and indeed a component of sales, which is the offer, which is why as our sticky bonus, what's a sticky bonus? It's slightly different to our participation bonus. This is your two-part bonus for sticking around. All you need to do is stick around to the Q&A at the end, and you will get these two different things. One is the B2B growth engine, and the other is our pointy end roadmap. And those, the pointy end roadmap is about tackling the steps that you will need to take at the pointy end of the deal, where the rubber hits the road, where the deal gets done. Today, our focus is on sales and indeed a specific area of sales. So if we are talking about sales, here is our agenda today and the bigger picture. If we're talking about sales, there are three things that you are going to get right, that you're going to need to get right, all right? Write this down on a piece of paper, take a photo of the screen in a second, because if you want to succeed at the pointy end of the deal, here are the three things that you need to get right. All right, number one is the offer. And that is indeed what we're talking about today. Woohoo! Your offer is more important than what it is that you sell. All right, because your offer is how you package it up. It's how you structure it. It's about making it easy for a buyer to say yes. What do you think's more important? Understanding how a client buys or understanding how you need to sell? If you can understand how a client buys, you can structure your offer in such a way where it becomes easier for them to say yes. Whereas most people that come into our world, the moment that they come into our world and the moment that we start to have conversations, whether it's Zoom or on the phone or in the Facebook group, it's pretty clear that a lot of people are putting up barriers rather than creating a frictionless offer. So the first thing is the offer. The second thing is our systems. Now, we're not going to be talking a great deal about systems today, but systems are things like how to book that meeting in the first place, how to use email to elevate anticipation before the meeting so they're almost pre-sold when you have that meeting for the first time, what to do if they give you a tentative yes or a not sure. So systems to follow up after the meeting, systems to pre-qualify in advance of the meeting, right? Offer, systems, and the last one here is our soft skills. And soft skills are the sorts of things that you will say at the meeting, once again, to accelerate the deal. If you've got a great offer and you've got systems to pre-qualify, build anticipation, help you manage the journey, and you've also got amazing soft skills, pull those things together and you can get yourself into a position where clients are actively asking you, how can we make this happen? And that's where we want to be. So today, as I said, we're going to focus on three different things. We're going to focus on how to grab attention. So what we're going to do down here, how to grab attention, how to stop writing proposals the way that you have been. Let's create some packages instead. And let's stop this black art quoting and talk a little bit more about pricing. If you want to go deeper with any of this stuff, I'll be introducing you guys and gals to my training program, The Pointy End. And if you want to continue working with us beyond today, we'll give you the opportunity to do just that. Then we have it's Q&A time, at which point you'll be able to unlock your sticky bonus. And I'm going to deliver a mini lesson on objection handling, which is indeed an example of soft skills. Then I'm going to deliver a tactical Q&A, a tactical lesson on how to pull together a value matrix. This is about how to get extreme return on investment from the work that you do with your clients. And for some people, this is going to be the most valuable piece of our training today. Yes, I've saved the best to last. So if you have not set aside time today for the full session, please do so now. If you've got a meeting that's coming up straight after this, maybe push it back if you can, but make sure that you are able to hang around to the very end, because we have this tactical Q&A where I will break down a value matrix. And as I said, for some people, that's going to be the best part of today. So let's start with this idea of grabbing attention. Grabbing attention. Now, this is useful from the very beginning, from when you want to attract the attention of the prospect, when you're trying to get in the door, when you're trying to book the meeting, when you are having the meeting and you want to hold attention, when you get to the proposal stage and you want to deliver a proposal, it's all about grabbing and holding attention. Now, the biggest problem that I find when I speak with B2B business owners in particular is they're often unclear about what it is that they are actually selling. It seems so strange. I meet people at networking events. What do you do? They have no idea what it is what they actually do and what they actually sell. So when you're engaging with future customers and clients, you need to always be answering the unspoken question. What will I get? Now, if you would like to play along, I do encourage you to pull out pen and paper at this particular point. I do believe that we had some worksheets sent around, but I'm not sure that everybody got them. It's all right. A worksheet's not an important thing to have if you have pen and paper. So if you do have pen and paper, open up a blank, open up your notebook right now, grab an empty A4 bit of paper. Maybe it's something that you've used a little bit earlier and you can flip it over, recycle some paper so that you can scribble on the back. What are you actually selling? Because we want to be able to answer the unspoken question, what will I get? So that's the one question that everybody wants to know. What will I get from this interaction? Now, the problem is the moment that you understand this and begin to appreciate that your future customers and clients want to know what they will get, and you're attempting to answer that unspoken question, you will usually begin by talking about, I think I'm going to make this in black. You'll begin by talking about things. That says things. That's how most people begin. They start talking about all the things that they offer for their customers and clients. Now, things can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. A thing might be something like a web build. So we're going to build something for you. It could be something along the lines of an audit, or it could be a program. It could be any of these things. It could be, heaven forbid, it could be your time. You will get 10 hours of access to my time. By the way, if you're selling your time as a thing, well, firstly, just let me say, please don't. And the problem is that when you start selling time, your future customers and clients don't value your time. But the worst case scenario is that you end up in a master-slave type relationship with your clients, where they think that they can buy you because you're willing and able to sell your time. But when we start to talk about the things, we'll usually talk about what we will build. We might create an audit or an analysis. We talk about deliverables. We talk about our program, which is broken into chunks. Or we talk about time or access to me or access to my crew. These are all things. So we're answering that unspoken question, what will I get? And by the way, it is important to be able to identify the things. But however, identifying things is not enough, because we need to know what it is that we are actually selling, which is why on my little graph here, on my little chart, I'm also going to write two more words: outcomes and feelings. Outcomes and feelings. If you want to grab attention, know what you are actually selling. And the reality is that most people don't want to buy things. When it comes to selling a complex product or service, they want to buy outcomes and they want to buy feelings. The things are by and large a means to an end. So for example, if you're selling, a website, and you're building a website, what's an outcome when someone pulls together a website? It might be something like leads. That's why they want a website. That's an outcome. You think you're selling a website, what they want is leads. Now, if I have a high-performing website that's churning out leads 24/7, 7 days a week, how am I going to be feeling? I'm probably going to be feeling a huge amount of relief that all that investment into my website is paying off. Outcomes, things, and feelings. All right, that is an example of when we build something. Do you build something? What do you build in your world? Once again, I want to remind you, if you'd like to leave a comment and you're leaving a comment for all panelists only, make sure that you're leaving the comment for all panelists and attendees, if that function is coming up for you, to make sure that we can see your comments. All right. Outcomes, things, and feelings. What if you're selling, maybe you're a management consultant and you're pulling together an audit or an analysis? Why does somebody want an audit or an analysis? Well, I'll tell you what, if I give someone an audit or analysis, I'm probably going to be giving them clarity. There might be a more specific reason underpinning that. Why do we need the clarity? We need the clarity to win more clients or get more donations or avoid a big challenge or a problem. And if I'm selling an audit and I'm providing the person with clarity, what's the feeling that we get when we have clarity? Confidence. All right, what if we're selling something like a training program, something like that? What's the outcome? Well, it really comes down to what the program is all about. So for example, if it's a program about, I don't know, how to assemble intelligent offers, the program might be about getting clients, right? Closing better quality clients at the pointy end of the deal. If you're selling leadership training, might be about leaders. If it's time efficiency training, it's about time. What is it that you're doing? You know, why are people buying from you? Once again, what is it that you're actually selling? Now, I'll tell you what, when we work with our clients and we sell training programs largely, among other things, but if we're selling a training program and the end goal is to get clients, we don't only want to help our clients get clients, we want them to get better quality clients. And part of better quality clients means charging more. And if you are charging more for what it is that you do, you tend to be feeling real pride in what it is that you do, which a lot of business owners lack. They don't necessarily feel that extreme confidence and pride that they are getting. Now, I'm going to leave this one time completely off the cards here because I don't even want it to be in here. I don't even want to see it. I don't want you guys and gals talking about time. I want you to be packaging up what you do. If it's your time, I want you to be packaging up as a thing, as a deliverable, as an outcome, as a feeling. So I'm going to leave that off the cards right now. What I will say, and I just want to put this down into an example that I just thought of this morning. It's a bit off I don't know, topic. But however, I was talking to someone who'd just been trying to buy a piece of hardware, because I know that some of you would probably be selling things like technology or furniture or anything that's hardware, something that's made of something. And yeah, my friend was trying to buy a laptop, and they went to the laptop shop, and the guy who was selling the laptop, I believe it was a guy, was saying, oh yeah, it's got 10 gigabytes of RAM and all this other stuff. And my friend was buying it for his son. And obviously the salesperson wasn't listening. He was trying to sell the hardware, all the things that came with the hardware. And then eventually the guy said, well, why does he want to use it? And he said, oh, he's a gamer. He wants to do it he wants to play online games. At which time the salesperson should have said, oh, so he wants to destroy his competition. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly right. He wants to destroy his competition. At which point he would have stopped talking about hardware and he would have started talking about processing power, right? So he could say he wants to destroy his competition. That's the outcome. Here's the hardware to do it so that you can look like a great dad. You can be the best dad ever. Outcomes, things, and feelings. As I said, I speak to a lot of people and they don't indeed know what it is that they are actually selling. They think that they are selling things, or they think that they are selling their time. That's not what your clients want. They want outcomes, things, and feelings. So always be answering that unspoken question. Here is a case study, which is the natural evolution of this process. This is someone that we did some work with called Troy Eady. He says, I was on the phone talking with a potential client about the strategy sessions we offer to prospects normally for free. As I went through your formula, breaking it down into outcomes, things, and feelings like you teach, suddenly I realized that if I offer this meeting for free, I'm going to sound like an idiot. So when he asked how much the session would cost, I plucked a number from the sky, $1,600 for the strategy session, and offered that. He immediately said yes. And that's how we now do business. We now get paid to pitch. And the quality of clients has vastly improved too. Did you catch that last bit? Troy now gets paid to pitch. He is selling something that he was indeed giving away for free, and the quality of the clients has vastly improved too. So he has already increased the lifetime values value of his clients because he stopped saying, hey, let's catch up and explore ways that I can take your money. He pitched a session with him as a thing by answering that unspoken question using the framework that we just went through: outcomes, things, and feelings. So what is the moral of the story? What is the take home? Outcomes and feelings are what people actually buy. They're going to ask you about all the things, don't you worry, but outcomes and feelings are what people actually buy. Take a photo of the screen if you need to. Say it out loud. But at the same time, they attach a greater value to things. They attach a greater dollar value to things. They attach the greatest value to outcomes and feelings, but they attach a greater dollar value to things. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's an outcome of human evolution, whereas once upon a time, things like an animal's skin were more precious than somebody's idea about hunting the animal to get the skin. So outcomes and feelings are what people actually buy, but they attach a greater dollar value to things. So how do we reconcile this conflict? Well, not only do I want to help you grab attention, but I also want to help you rethink about this, rethink and reimagine this entire process called writing proposals. Indeed, I'm going to drop a thought bomb. Maybe, just maybe, you should stop writing proposals. What? What are you talking about, James? Stop writing proposals. I invited you here to talk about intelligent offers. And guess what? An intelligent offer does not necessarily need a full-blown proposal. So stop writing proposals, prepare packages instead. We're talking about going from friction, finding it difficult to get decisions, to flow, where people say, that makes logical sense. What can we do next? If you are going to stop writing proposals and start preparing packages instead, I urge you to embrace a strategy that we use and teach. I believe that we invented it, the way that we do it, called chunking. What is chunking? It's about chunking down what you do, transforming all the things that you do into little things that you can package up once again as packages that are, of course, tied to the concept of outcomes and feelings. But it's about chunking down what you do into little things so that you can package it up once again. A little bit earlier, I offered you a participation bonus, and that was a document called Thank You for Not Discounting. Next time, after you've gone through the chunking process, if someone asks you for a discount, don't pull the value down, don't pull the price down, you can pull the value up. If you've chunked down what you do into little chunks, you can say to that person, listen, I can't give you a discount, but I can give you this extra thing. So anyway, chunking involves a three-part process. We're not going to go through all three parts in extreme detail today, because this is quite an advanced process, but I'm going to help you out with what I think are the most important pieces. So chunking is a three-part process. This is a three-stage process to help you structure your offer intelligently. It's not linear, and that means that you can move back and forth between the stages. However, I have broken it down into part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 is audit what you already offer. Do you have a product suite? Have you costed and itemized the products and services you already offer? Or indeed, do you have a rate card? Step 2, audit what you already do. Do you have an onboarding process? Have you identified and costed the steps in this process? Do you know your client journey? There is gold in your client journey. Part 3, put it in your own value matrix. What's a value matrix? I'll come back to that in the tactical Q&A at the very end. What I will say now is that it's about getting paid more to do less without compromising the quality of your work while still delighting clients. It's about getting extreme return on investment from your output. So I'm going to run through 2 of these very quickly, and we'll come back to putting it in your own value matrix a little bit later. All right, audit what you already offer. Do you have a product suite? Have you costed and itemized the services you already offer? Do you have a rate card? I'm only going to spend a moment on this slide, but what I will say is that the image on the left is a landscape maintenance services calendar. It's not B2B. It's B2C, unless they're serving corporates. but it's landscape maintenance. So you can see items on here like turf. Let's change the color. Turf and coloring and ground cover and shrubs and vines and trees. Now, and they're all broken down into subcategories like deadhead and detailing, mulching, water management, soil and nutrition management. All right, this is a calendar. But you can bet your last dollar that the person who pulled together this particular calendar knows exactly how much they should be charging for each and every single one of those things that they do. They have chunked it down and attached a price to each of those things. Now, some people say to me, but what I do is very complex, James. It's very high level. Sure, it might be, but I'm sure that you do many of the same things for your clients again and again and again. And on the right, I have a rate card from a digital marketing agency. And the digital marketing agency has broken down what they do into chunks as well too. Their top line thing is strategy. And I can see they've got a digital strategy here and a visual strategy and a web strategy and a promo strategy and a brand strategy and a content strategy. And once again, those are probably have each been broken down into smaller chunks so that they can come up with these numbers right here all over the place. Now you can't see that whole rate card, but it's enormous. If I printed it out using A4 bits of paper, it's probably about 7 to 12 pages as they run through all the different things that they can do for their clients. Do you have a rate card? Have you ever sat down and audited what you already offer? Pop quiz. When is the best time to share your rate card with a potential client? Use the chat tool. If you have not used the chat tool, make sure that you do so now. This will get you your participation bonus if you haven't done so already. When is the best time to share your rate card with a potential client? All right, Marcus said during the AWP, which stands for an appointment with purpose. That's something that we teach. It's better than a client meeting or a sales call. When they ask for it, says Michael. At the beginning, says Rennie. After they've decided to buy. Early, says Dolph. Some people provided the answer that I was looking for. Are you ready? Never. The purpose of having a rate card is not for your clients. The purpose of having a rate card is for you, so that when you're speaking to a client, you can pull together a bundle, a package of things that they are going to need and say, this is what I recommend for you. The moment that you give someone a rate card is the moment that they begin to haggle. Well, what if you can do this, but not that? Can you give that bit for me for free and wipe that out? The other thing is if you give your rate card at the beginning of the relationship, they will immediately go price shopping. No. When is the best time to share your rate card with a potential client? Never. This is for you, not for them. So I said one, audit what you already offer. Now that there is pulling together a rate card. Now we're actually going to have a look at audit what you already do. What's the difference between what you already offer and what you already do? What you already offer are things like, hey, I'm going to pull together a proposal, or I'm going to pull together a website, something along those lines. Auditing what you already do is about identifying every step in the client journey and maybe indeed building that into your packages. So chunking is not just about auditing what you already offer, it's about auditing what you do in the client journey. So for example, I might change this to a white. There are steps and stages in the client journey. Now, the first step might be a meeting. Let's change this to black. Must step be a meeting. Now, that's something that you would normally give away for free, I imagine. You might do some research before that meeting or after that meeting to demonstrate value. Have you ever done that? There might be a bit of pre-selling. Now, pre-selling is where you might send them some information that they can watch. Maybe it's a video or a useful document. What else do we often do in the client journey? We're talking about identifying every step on the client journey before starting work with a client. There's usually that back and forth phone calls, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So they ask some questions. And when you sign them, there's probably a little bit of onboarding. So there's an onboarding process. At the very beginning, I said, does the client relationship start with a conversation? And for some of you said, oh, well, no, I can sell the deal online. Sometimes it's from a conversation that we might have on LinkedIn. But then what do you do next? You have some sort of onboarding conversation. So it does indeed usually begin with a conversation. These are fairly typical steps. Is this a bit like you? You want to sign a client, you might meet with them, you might do some research before or after, pre-sell, there's the back and forth, bit of onboarding when you sign them up. Is this fairly typical? I'm sure it is. All right, well, if that's the case, let's have a look at this idea of transforming what we do into things. A great way to transform something into a thing is to give it a name. Yeah? When you give something a name, it becomes a thing. So meet, we're going to meet. Rather than say, hey, let's meet, let's pull together a 5-page plan. That is a thing. It's a thing of value. It's probably what you do as a result of meeting with a potential client. So no more of this, hey, let's catch up and explore ways to work together. We call these appointments with purpose, AWPs. We offer a B2B funnel mapping session. We don't say, hey, let's catch up and explore ways we can take your money. We say, let's spend 45 minutes mapping your B2B funnel. Would you like to do that? It's outcome focused. So I don't know, your meeting could be, hey, let's pull together a 5-page plan. Research. Ooh, this could be a situation analysis. Oh, my handwriting is so bad. Let's call that a situation analysis. A situation analysis sounds so much better than, let's make that smaller so it fits in the spot. Sounds so much better than you doing research and not getting any benefit for it. Would you like me to do a situation analysis for you? All right, pre-selling, that could be some sort of like training package, maybe a mini challenge, could just be some videos. Back and forth, let's call this strategic support. Add the word strategic beforehand. And onboarding, let's call it a strategy workshop. Give it a name, turn it into a thing, right? Do you know what you can do when you turn something into a thing? You can also give it a price for each and every one of these things. But if we're going to give something a price, it's probably worthwhile analyzing the ROI that they're going to get and the COI that they're going to get. So the ROI means the return on investment and the COI means the cost of inaction. So looking at this 5-page plan, they're not going to get a high ROI. They're probably going to get a low return on investment. They're just going to get a plan. It's not going to have an immediate impact on their business. But the cost of inaction, on the other hand, is that you might be revealing the mistakes that they are making. So we've got a high COI, a situation analysis, low ROI, probably low COI as well too, maybe high. Let's call it medium. That's medium. Pre-selling, the package, that could have a medium ROI and a medium COI. The support, who knows? It's up to you and what you do. The workshop is probably once again got low ROI but high COI because you're going to reveal to them what they need to be doing next to be able to get a result. All right, a 5-page plan. Let's give these things some prices. I don't know, $199, some research. Let's call that a $500 project. Pre-sell. What's our package called? I think we just called it a training package. All right, maybe that's a training package, $297. The back and forth calls, that strategic support. I'm going to call this priceless, is what it is. And then the onboarding call. Well, if you're going to spend half a day with me, that's $3,000, okay? I've just chunked down what you already do. Therefore, we can turn this thing into a project. We can give it a name as a package. We can evaluate its worth. And at the end of it, we can give it a package rate. We have chunked down what you are already doing. Was that valuable? I hope it was. Is that something that you've ever done before? Maybe, maybe not. Here's the most important thing though. These are, sorry, I just paused because this frustrates me so much. These are all things that have value, yes? but they are not packaged in a way that demonstrates their value to clients. And why is that? And that is because you don't value them. Drives me bonkers. Drives me insane. Are you paying attention? Maybe take a photo of the slide to remind yourself. These are all things that have value, all those things that I ran through. But they are not packaged up in a way that demonstrates their value to clients because you don't value them. So you give them all away for free and expect your future customers and clients to value your time. So I ran through that very quickly. 1, I talked about rate cards. 2, I talked about auditing what you already do. Part 3, put it in your own value matrix. Let's come back to that. Who's this guy? Who's this guy as we hit the 45, 46 minute mark? Who's this guy? Let me know that you are paying attention. I got a little bit emotional then, just a moment ago. Temporarily lost my way. So let's reset things. Who is this guy? Who can tell me? Use the chat tool. Michael says it's my mate, Tony. Renee says TR. Marie says Tony Robbins. Greg says AR. Tony Montana. No, it is indeed Anthony Robbins. Thank you, Tony Myers and Adolph as well too. Who's this guy? Tony Robbins. All right, I got a question. How much does Tony Robbins charge if you want to spend an hour with Tony? How much does it cost for 1 hour with Tony Robbins, 1 hour with Anthony Robbins? If you've played this game with me before, don't give away the punchline. What does it cost for 1 hour with Tony? If you don't know, have a guess. Somebody give me a number. How much does it cost for 1 hour with Tony? Good question, Leanne says. Does he charge for an hour or does he offer a package? You betcha, he offers a package. You betcha. How much does it cost for an hour with Tony? Let's have a look at this. Jules says $5,000. Matt says $7,000. Marie says $5,000. Priceless says Renee. Dolph says no idea, 1 million. Priceless. And James said 50K. All right. Okay. Now, the top level deal package that you can get when you work with Tony will cost you $1 million. You get the top level package with Tony, 1 million per annum. So I'm going to give everyone a chance that haven't had a go. And maybe you answered not to everyone. You left the message just to me, and you didn't leave the message for all panelists and attendees. So this is a chance to have another go. The top level package is $1 million. Is the top level package. How many hours do you get with Tony for your $1 million? $1 million, how many hours with Tony? We're going to break this down. We're going to reverse engineer it. How many hours do you get with Tony for your $1 million? You guys know that I'm good, that I play games with you by now, don't you? So have a look at this. Marie says 40. Debbie says 45. Renee says 1. Andrew says none. Debbie says weekly. All right, you get what is it? You get I'm trying to remember. It's 8. No, is it 4? It's 4. Is it 8? Oh no, my goodness, I'm having a mental blank. But let's assume that it's 8. I'm just having one of those moments. Let's assume that it's 8. 8 hours with Tony Robbins. No, it's 4. It's 4. Which means that it was okay. I've just got it right in my head. You get 8 half-an-hour sessions with Tony Robbins. That's what you get. You get 8 half-an-hour sessions with Tony Robbins, which works out to be 4 hours over the course of a year, which works out to be $250,000 per hour. $250K for an hour with Tony. Now, when I first asked the question, the first response that I got was $5,000, and the second response that I got was $7,000. Okay, when I first heard this, when first someone explained this to me, my brain went, my reality box exploded. My reality box absolutely exploded. Matt says, damn. Matt, you've just said that to me and the other panelists. But you can say that to everyone by tapping it out for all panelists and attendees, I think. Damn, right? My brain went, reality box exploded. Do you know why they're willing to pay him so much? because they're not paying him for their time, for his time. They're paying him for an outcome as part of a package. And the right type of customer, one person with the right type of problem, one problem, can be sold the right type of package, product. One person, one problem, one product. If you're a captain of industry and you have thousands of people that report to you, and you need to be motivated, you need to be fired up, you need some guidance with a really tough decision, and you've got 8 opportunities over the course of a year to have 30 minutes with Tony, it's probably worth it to you for $1 million a year. You're not thinking that the call is worth $250,000. You're thinking about the outcomes and the feelings. Of course, when you chunk it down to package it up, they can be used to justify the cost, but we are really buying outcomes and feelings. All right. Grabbing attention, writing proposals. What about pricing? I'm going to introduce 2 new words to you that might be new words, anchoring and framing. To understand anchoring and framing, I'm going to draw you a funny picture. I'm going to draw you a picture of a mug. This is a mug. This is another mug that you drink coffee out of. These are identical mugs. This one has a price tag of $10. This one has a price tag of $1,000 marked down to $10. Which mug are you more likely to buy? Which mug would you prefer to buy? The mug on the left or the mug on the right? Left or right? You tell me. Left on the one on the left or the one on the right? L or R? Marie said the discounted one. The discounted one? The one that was $1,000? Right. Let me remind you, it's the same damn mug. What I've done here is I've done 2 things in the one analogy. I've used anchor pricing to make the one on the right seem much better. Anchor is when you introduce a much higher price before you introduce your price. So you've anchored your price against their price. And that is because if you're in the B2B space, most likely your future customers and clients don't have a clear understanding or appreciation or perception of what they should be charging. They should be charged for what it is that you do. It's not like an umbrella where we know vaguely what an umbrella is going to cost. It's going to be $10 for a cheap one. It's going to be $100 for an expensive one, right? When it comes to abstract concepts, which is what most people in the B2B space offer, or big ticket projects, people don't have a clear understanding of how much something should cost. So when we add an anchor, we add a point of reference. So when I said $1,000 and made it $10,000, that's anchoring. The other thing that I did is I framed it. I framed it in comparison to something else. In this particular instance, I just framed it in comparison to a larger price. But a more common one or something worth thinking about is, have you thought about those coffee things, the little coffee cups that George Clooney sells? They're the pods that go into the machine. You know the ones that I'm talking about, the pods? Now, I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to name the brand or not. I don't know. You name the brand in the comments. You know what I'm talking about. All right, that particular product where you can buy the little things in the pods. Now, in comparison to me buying some instant coffee, it's very expensive. In comparison to me grinding my own coffee, it's also still very expensive. But however, this particular brand did not frame themselves against instant coffee or ground coffee. They framed themselves against going to a coffee shop and buying a cup of coffee. So you can get a pod for $1.50 when you grind the coffee, it might only cost you 10 to 15 cents. But when you go to a cafe, it's $4, it's $5 to get quality coffee of that high quality. That there is an example of framing. So I'm going to give you a framing framework. Are you ready? This is a three-part structure for offering what it is that you do. I said, stop writing proposals, start putting together packages instead. If you chunk down what it is that you do, you can build it up and you can introduce a 3-part package that might look something like this. Are you ready? Sit down with your future customer or client and introduce package number 1. And package number 1, let's say your package number 1 is $10,000. or $9,600 or $9,800. And with package number one, you get this, you get this, you get this, you get this, plus you get all these support things, plus you get this extra thing here, which is worth this, and you get a bonus, and that's how much it's going to cost. We call this particular option, and it's the first option that you introduce, the premium. We call this the premium because what we are doing is it is allow us to anchor our next offer. Our next offer is down here. And our next offer might be, let's see, 3,200. All right. Let's say, yeah, 3.2K. That's what I've just written. Doesn't look like what I have. And you get 1, 2, 3 for your 3,002K. Now, if you go into a discussion and you introduced your big offer, the heavy one on the right-hand side, the premium, that gives you an opportunity to talk about outcomes, things, and feelings and break it all down. And I've just chosen this price point of 10,000. For you, it could be 50,000. It might be 4,000. I don't know. But you can introduce something that's quite high and they go, wow, that's really interesting. But at the back of their brain, they're thinking, but I barely know you. And it seems kind of expensive, which means that you can introduce your next thing, which comes up next. And you say, or we've got this alternative option, which is 3.2K. You don't get everything, but you get these three important things: outcomes, things, and feelings. And they go, wow, that sounds pretty interesting. I like the sound of that. However, we call that one the patsy. Why does the patsy exist? Well, if the item on the right is all about anchoring, the item on the left is all about framing. Because then I can come in and I can say, however, based on what we've talked about, the offer that I have in mind for you is 3.6K, right? So the first one was 3.2. The second one was 3.6. Let's do this so you can see it again. 3.2K, 3.6. It's only marginally more expensive, but you're going to get this, and this as well. Plus you've got this extra bonus up here with this, and it's only $3,600. And based on everything that we've been talking about today, this is the option that I think is the right one for you. And this is called the preferred. 3 options: the premium, the patsy, and the preferred. Understanding how and why your clients buy is more important than what you sell or indeed how you sell. Understanding that humans get freaked out by choice. There's a thing called the paradox of complexity. We think that if we give someone more choice, they're more likely to come on board. Too many options, they freak out. However, if you only give them one option, it's not really one option. And indeed, it is 2 options. It's the opportunity to say yes or no. In this particular circumstances, what we have done is we've used anchor pricing, we've used framing to introduce the option that we want them to take. And we've steered the conversation using anchoring, using framing, overcoming the paradox of complexity to introduce the one that we want. What's really interesting about this particular structure, when I talk about stop writing proposals, our clients, more often than not, instead of writing proposals, draw a picture on a piece of paper, just like I have done for you right now. And at the end of it, they say, is this the one? These are the 3 options. What do you think is most likely to work best for you? And the majority of the times, maybe 9 out of 10, they'll say the middle option. And then 1 out of 10, they'll say the premium. Because maybe 5 to 10% of people always want to get the most expensive. So here's the natural evolution of this process. This is Naomi. She said, I went through the process you teach and structured my offer. Not only did I close the next 2 sales calls with clients without an ounce of sales pressure, I made a record sale for my business. Woohoo! I doubled my rates. It was my biggest client spend ever. Now, Naomi went through that process. She delivered her meeting using the format and the formula that we teach, our one call close formula, our B2B one call close formula. In her first week doing this, she had 2 meetings. Her first meeting, she closed a client, and it was the preferred option. She's woohoo, the most that she'd ever charged for a gig. And then the second meeting, the person signed up for the premium, which made her mind go poof, and her reality box exploded. So as we hit the 1 hour mark, I want you to say this out loud. Are you ready? Say it out loud. You've booked the meeting with the client. You've maybe spent 45 minutes educating them, answering their questions, getting to get them to know them a little bit better. Indeed, you may have even applied the strategy that we teach in our B2B one call close formula. Now, some clients are never going to close on the first call or the first conversation or the first Zoom call or the first meeting. However, if you can apply the one call close formula to your first meeting, everything will happen a whole lot faster. In Naomi's situation, neither of the people said yes on the call, but they both said yes within the next 24 hours. And that there is indeed your second sticky bonus, and you'll get that, the one call close formula, for simply sticking around to the Q&A. So imagine this, you've been to the meeting, you've dazzled, you've helped the client, you've got a better understanding, you believe that there's a good fit. And then they say, the best thing that you want to hear them say is, so how can where does this go from here? How can we take this further? If you've done your job right, that's what they will say. So how do we continue with this? How do we take this further? What's the next step? Repeat after me, say it out loud. Please do say it out loud. Wherever you are in the world right now, whether you're on a public bus or an open plan office, say it out loud. Based on your situation, we have 3 packages. Shall we run through them together? Say it out loud. Based on your situation, read the slide. We have 3 packages. Shall we run through them together? Say it out loud while I take a sip. That is an example of getting permission to pitch, which is one of the elements of the one call close formula. The other thing that I want you to observe, now that you've said, based on your situation, we have 3 packages. Shall we run through them together? Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Please guide me. Is that everything that I've talked about today is a system, right? We go into business with all these grand plans and grand ideas, and then fairly quickly, most business operators get lost. They begin the year with big ambitions, big goals. They begin the month with big ambitions, big goals. They begin the week with big ambitions and big goals, and then fairly quickly they get lost. But however, I asked you the question, what is it that you're actually selling? I gave you a framework. I said, if you want to chunk it down to package it up, here's a 3-part process. Number 3, I said, if you are actually selling and you're talking about pricing, how about embracing concepts like framing and anchoring? And I introduced a structure, a 3-part proposal. These are all systems. And guys and gals, this is important. I asked you to say, based on your situation, we have 3 packages. Shall we run through them together? I asked you to say that out loud. But this is more important even than that. Here's what I want you to say out loud. It's very simple. I just want you to say, systems equal sanity. Systems equal sanity. Words to live by. Get systems into your business. You get clarity back. You can streamline what it is that you do. You don't have to spend half your life second guessing about what should I do next? How much should I charge this client? No, you figured all that out way in advance. Systems equal sanity. If you are not saying it out loud, type it out and use it as a chat tool. Alina says, does it have to be a phone call? Not on paper. It could be a phone call. It could be a Zoom call. It could be face-to-face, however you want to engage with your clients. But however, these days, most people seem to be fairly comfortable with a Zoom call, which allows you to do things like I'm doing right now, which is engaging, showing slides, writing things on a piece of paper, and delivering genuine value during your first conversation with a client. But say it out loud. And Michael was the first to do it. Rock and roll, Michael. You deserve a reward. My helpers who are watching right now, get Michael a reward. Don't know what it is yet. Well done. All right, so we've covered a lot so far. We've talked about how to grab attention, know what it is that you're selling, outcomes, things, and feelings. We have talked about getting off the treadmill, the proposal writing treadmill. And there are a couple different steps to that, but one of those steps is chunking down what you do so that you can package it back up. And I also talked about an example of soft skills. So when it does come time to speaking with a customer or client, you know what it is that you need to say. But in the context of that, I shared, I believe, some valuable insights about pricing. However, here's the problem. Progress killer number one. This is the elephant in the room. I know you've been scribbling, you've been taking notes, you've been very, very focused, and your involvement today is evidence of that. The level of participation has been very good, very high. So what's the elephant in the room? How will you get the meeting in the first place? How will you get in front of your future customers and clients? How do you plan to start the conversation so that you can get the meeting? What will you say at the meeting? How will you get the meeting? That's progress killer number one. And that's something that I hope to be able to help you with today. Progress killer number two. What's your relationship with sales like? Is it a complicated thing? Is it a love-hate relationship? How do you feel about sales? Do you love sales? You love getting on the phone? You love the opportunity to close? Or is it a little bit more complicated than that? Or are you at the extreme where you are can't sell, won't sell? I can't sell. I just can't sell. So I won't sell. If you're in the business of being in business, you got to learn how to sell. And one thing that I will say is that if you can get the fundamentals in place, so if you can structure your offer intelligently, if you can get the systems in place to book the meeting, to pre-qualify the lead, to elevate anticipation before the meeting, to even follow up after the meeting if they give you a tentative yes, right? Suddenly selling is not so scary. Indeed, it's not so hard because the pressure stops being about you and your ability to cartwheel onto the Zoom call and do a song and dance like Zig Ziglar. It's all about the systems. And why are systems so important? Because systems equal sanity. What's progress killer number three? Well, I shared this diagram with you a little bit earlier. This is the structure of our training program, the pointy end. And as I pointed out, it's broken into 3 units: the offer, your systems, and indeed the pointy end. But the problem with most sales and marketing strategies just about everywhere, and when you start a business in particular, is that a lot of this stuff is not linear. A lot of this stuff is not linear. So what happens is you find yourself suddenly with an opportunity to pitch to a client and you go, oh my goodness, I'm going to be speaking to a client. So you jump on the call, and you have a conversation. And at the end of the conversation, they ask you 10 questions and you go, oh man, this is really tough. I need to focus on my objection handling. Clearly my objection handling is not very good. So you tell one of your friends, I got to learn some objection handling. They give you some training or they help you out. They give you some tips. And then one of them says, you know what? It might not be about the objections. It might be about the person. And you go, oh yeah, I really do. I need to focus on pre-qualification. I need some sort of triage process before someone books a call. And they say, yeah, that's really good. But who's your target audience? Oh, I need some clarity around my target audience. 3 Ps stands for one person, one problem, one product. I definitely need some clarity around my target audience. So this is good. I'm feeling good about this. All right. So now I've got clarity around my target audience. I've got another call booked. Okay. Well, I better not just think about objections. I should think about making sure that I deliver value during this meeting so that I can build anticipation for what I do. I've heard that that's a powerful thing. So I'm going to do that. And you do that. And then at the end of the call, they don't ask for the objections, but the time's not right. It's not structured the right way. And you think, damn it, I probably should have spent some time de-risking the offer because I could see that they were hesitant. But if I'm going to de-risk my offer, I really need to have packages. If I need to have packages, I better chunk the damn thing down. At this point, you suddenly realize I'm chunking it down. You know what I should do? I should transform the meeting that I was giving away for free into an appointment with purpose. And maybe people will pay me for my meeting. Oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. So you start to frame your meeting as an appointment with purpose that's outcome focused. More people are booking time with you, which is terrific. But suddenly people aren't showing up. You're getting more meetings, but people aren't showing up. Oh no, people aren't showing up. I feel so terrible. So what I want to do is I'm going to elevate anticipation before the meeting. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some systems in place to elevate anticipation before the meeting. And then you elevate anticipation before the meeting and suddenly go, you know what? I've done this all in the wrong order. I should go to here 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 to here. Does that sound like business 101? Does that sound like the life of a small business owner? Absolutely. Right? I want to make your life linear. Let's go here, 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 and do it in a logical, linear order. Even though it's circular, it's still linear, so that we can get you to a point where clients close you. Let's choose a nice vibrant color for this little spot in the middle. Clients close you. That's where we want you to be. Which is why I'm so thrilled to introduce you guys and gals to something called the pointy end. I've mentioned it once or twice already. What is the pointy end? Well, first, let me explain who it's for. First, it's for established business owners. Maybe you've been around the block a couple times and you want to get better quality clients. You want to get more conversations booked with potential clients, and you want to get decisions made faster. If you want those three outcomes, you're probably aware of what you need to do. You need to embrace systems, because systems equal sanity, but systems are the only thing that will help you scale. Maybe you're starting something brand new, or maybe you're a little business, or you see yourself as a little business. There are a couple of things that you're going to need. One is clarity, particularly target audience clarity. I haven't talked about that today, but most of the things that I've talked about will not work unless you have target audience clarity. Shortcuts. What's the shortest path? I just went through a very convoluted, non-linear way to get outcomes, or you can just follow our systems. You can spend 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 3 years muddling along, or just ask us for our systems. And also get revenue positive quickly. This is really important when you're starting something new. You want to win some clients quickly because it's a big confidence booster. But the alternative is when you launch something new and it feels like you're invisible. You say, I'm doing all this stuff, and you're launching to crickets, which is painful. It's gut-wrenching. And what if you're a marketing pro? Well, you got to get up to speed with this stuff. Or a sales pro. Sales professionals are probably good at the soft skills bit, nothing else that goes around it. If you're a marketing person, you're probably focused at the top of the funnel, not the bottom of the funnel. This is your opportunity to get up to speed, get more recognition from your clients by helping them get wins faster, get them visible outcomes. Who has a coach? The best of the best have a coach. People in the marketing and sales space will often say, it feels a bit weird to me to pay some money to you to learn about my craft. The best of the best have a coach. Serena Williams has a coach. You know, who are the best golfers? I don't know. Tiger Woods. He has a coach. The best of the best have a coach. So why did we create the pointy end? We created it for those three audiences to help remove the friction so that they could accelerate decisions and sign better quality clients faster, and ultimately sign up people who value your efforts more and pay you more. Who is it not for? It's not for the deluded hustler, right? All I need is to book meetings and I'm going to close 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% of the people that I speak to. I'm going to close 100% of the people that I speak to because I am a hustler and I hustle. I close more than 50% of my sits. I hate to say it, but most entrepreneurs and business owners are gamblers. We only remember the wins. The only people that close more than 50% of clients are people where someone's just calling up to book an order, or they are over-reliant on referrals, where the work is largely done. But for you, it's done for you. But you can't scale a business largely on referrals. So it's not for the deluded hustler. However, if you're prepared to acknowledge that you could be improving the volume of your meetings, the quality of the meetings, you could even run them faster and scale back on the follow-up by simply introducing a couple systems to the way that you do it and restructuring your offer. If you're in that position and you're listening, you're clearly coachable, and we welcome you into our world with open arms. Come on in. Who it's not for? The unicorn chaser. I'm going to build a perpetual marketing machine so I never have to speak with another fellow human being ever again. We call it the unicorn chaser. And I have to say, when I started out, this was me. So we graded our marketing funnels. We have a training program called The Recipe, which is all about marketing funnels, the top of the funnel. And that was my goal, to build a perpetual marketing machine where we didn't have to have conversations with real people in the real world. We're really great at what we do, but it's almost a myth. It really is. If you want to sell big ticket products and items, it's just not really possible. So I was the unicorn chaser. One of my business partners, John Iglesias, was the deluded hustler. And the third player in this, who it's not for, is probably my other business partner, Simon Ogilvie. No, it's not him. This is definitely not Simon Ogilvie. This is the opposite. The human funnel. What's the human funnel? This is the self-saboteur. Just for fun, a sabot is a French wooden clog. During the Industrial Revolution, there were a bunch of guys and gals that would take these wooden clogs and they would throw them into the machines during the Industrial Revolution. They'd go to big factories and they'd throw their wooden clogs into the machines so that the machines would all stop. And they became known as saboteurs. Saboteurs. The human funnel, I'm just going to roll up my sleeves and do it all myself. Top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Efficiencies be damned. I'm going to do it on myself. Once again, this is not for you. You need to be embracing technologies, which is about the systems. You need to be embracing the systems. Systems produce sanity, but you need to also be embracing automation. You can't do all this stuff on your own. Elevating anticipation before a meeting, following up, knowing who to follow up, reaching out to people, engagement, booking meetings. There are tools to do this now for you, and you need to be willing and able to embrace those tools. So the pointy end, how does it work? As I said, it's designed for 3 specific audiences, and it was designed to deliver a small number of very specific outcomes for those audiences. Are you ready?
5 minutes later.
So as I said, we have a tactical Q&A. And I said I've saved the best until last. At least I think it's the best. It's not an easy exercise that I'm about to run you through, but however, it's definitely worthwhile doing in your own time. We've talked about chunking today. I talked about auditing what you already offer. I gave you a snapshot of that. It takes a little bit more effort. It takes a little bit of time. I would love to support you. Audit what you already do, because you don't value what you already do. But if you frame it in a way, your clients will. And then step 3, put it in your value matrix. So if you've chunked down everything that you do, what you already offer and what you already do, you can put that into your value matrix, and you can evaluate what products and services you should keep, what you should emphasize, what you can offer early, what you can offer later, or indeed, but they'll totally detonate. There are products and services that you're offering now that you probably never should have started offering in the first place. Feel real? I'm sure it does. So let's talk about the value matrix. All right, as we move into the home straight. On the screen right now, you'll see 4 squares. And once again, if you've got a piece of paper and you want to do this with me, do it with me. You'll find it extremely valuable. As a bare minimum, take a photo of the screen. Pull out your camera, take a photo of the screen. If you're watching on your phone, screen grab, do it now. So what on the screen you can see right now, something that we call a value matrix. The left indice up the left here, whoopsie daisy, my whole computer, my whole iPad just moved there. Let's try this again. The left indice going up is about effort. It's about the amount of time and effort that you put in. Indeed, we're talking about input. That's what this left indice represents. We've got high effort, we've got low effort, high time, low time, high input, low input. That's what that left indice is all about. This one along the bottom here, this represents value. It represents outcomes. It represents feelings. It represents results. Yes, indeed, we're talking about output. So we are looking at all the different things that you do after you've chunked down what you do and what you offer. Left indice, input, bottom indice, output. Cool. We on the same page? I hope so. We've got 4 quadrants. And what I will say is that most people in the B2B space, particularly service businesses, live up here in the top right-hand corner. Now, this is a fine place to be. You put in a lot of effort and you deliver a lot of value. Effort, value, depending on where my hands are moving on your screen right now. We put in a lot of effort and we deliver value. And this is where I'd probably say 98% of service-based businesses live. And you can grow a business this way. You can hire some staff this way. You could probably buy a house, pay off the mortgage, maybe get a boat, even a holiday house. If you do it well. And this is called a living, right? This is what this top right quadrant is all about. The problem with the top right-hand quadrant is that if you want to scale your business, there's only one way to do that. And the only way to scale your business, if it requires high effort to get high value, is usually to hire more people or clone yourself if the technology existed. So it's a living. It's okay, right? What is the quadrant that you don't want to be in? This should be an easy one to answer. So what quadrants do you not want to be in? So if it's top right, you could type TR, top right. If it's bottom right, you could type BR. If it's bottom left, it would be BL. If it's top left, you get, right, TL. I've given you some time to catch up here. What's the quadrant where you don't want to be? Thank you, Andrew and Alan and Graham and Louise. This is a miserable place to be. This is a terrible place to be. You're putting in all this effort and you're delivering low value. If your clients don't necessarily appreciate what you do and how you do it, or if you notice that they're not sticking around and you're getting high churn, it's probably worthwhile evaluating what you do and how you do it. You're probably putting in a whole lot of effort and delivering low value. And incidentally, this is not just about the effort that you put in. It also relates to the effort that they put in. If they have to put in a ton of effort and they get low value, they're not going to stick around. In fact, they might even resent you a little for it, which is why in our training programs, we focus on the 80-20 rule. What's the 20% that's going to deliver the highest value, right? This is what a value matrix is all about. All right, what about this one? Bottom left. What about this one here? I'll put a big question mark. Is this a good place to be or a bad place to be? You tell me, good or bad? Bottom left, good place to be or bad place to be? You tell me. Bottom left, good or bad? Let's see what you have to say. And thank you for everyone who's participating. All right, Andrew says no point doing bottom left. Are you sure? Good or bad? Commit. The more you participate, the more you'll get involved, right? Agreed, says Graham. Medium says, agreed, says Leanne. Medium, says Graham. Dolph says enough of them. All right. Now, what you might notice is that every now and then I try to trick your guessing machines, which means that I take you down a path and then I definitively prove you wrong. This is one of these moments. I like this space. I like this space a lot. This is your pre-selling space. What is pre-selling? It's when you're producing scaled back versions of what it is that you do that don't require much of your time or much of the time of the person that you're working with. So it's low effort and it's requisite value. It's equivalent value. It might not be amazing, off the charts, my world has changed value, but it is value that's proportionate and equivalent to the amount of effort that somebody puts in. So I love this space. This is the pre-selling zone, and all your customers and clients go on a journey from a stranger to a suspect to a prospect to a client. And if you can support them on that journey by providing content that is low input for you, high output for them, it's still not very high. It's proportionate. It's equivalent. It's requisite, right? A high-performing ebook. Even this webinar could fit in this particular bottom left quadrant, right? It's not amazing high effort for me. It's not amazing high effort for you. But however, the value that I'm delivering, I believe is extremely high, and it's proportionate to the amount of effort and time that we're all putting in. And I can do it at scale. Yes. What about this bottom one on the far right? Is this a good place to be? I'm just going to call this place the yeah, baby. This is the yeah, baby place. And this is where we've got ticks and I don't know, fireworks and woo, yay. This is exactly where we want to be. When we are able to deliver extreme levels of value, high value for low effort. And often the only way that we can figure this out to get into this yeah, baby zone is by chunking down what it is that we do so we can package it back up and then putting it into the context of something like this value matrix. And when you are able to break down what it is that you do, also in the context of knowing who your target audience is, you can say, you know what? That part of my service, I'm not going to deliver anymore. That part of my service, I am going to automate. Or that part of my service, I am going to delegate. I just used 3 words there, and it's worth writing these things down. Automate, delegate, or detonate. Automate, delegate, or detonate. So straight off the bat, this webinar here, I'm going to automate it. Yeah. Aspects of servicing our clients, we delegate. And then there are elements of our training that we no longer do anymore. We once had a module on Pinterest, right? None of our clients are interested in Pinterest. Or if they are, it's like 1 in 1,000. But detonate. We also had strategies that we were teaching that were requiring far too much effort. So instead, what we did is we isolated the 20% that were delivering the highest value, and that's where we begin. And that's the journey that we take our people on. So that's to do with how your customers and clients get results, and it's also how you deliver your products and services. If you're up here and you want to go down to here, please take action. Please very much take action. If you're living in a world where you're in the living space or the high churn space, and you would prefer to be living in this particular area at the bottom here, if you'd like to move down here, ooh, that's the wrong color. If you'd like to do that, I would love to help you out. I'd love to help you on this journey. It's a lovely blue space. It's a blue ocean down here. Oh, it's not coming up. My color's not coming up. Not many people do it. It's a great place to be. I absolutely love it. This is the blue ocean. Let us know, take the next step.